I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do. To answer the question in the title of this video right off the bat, no, this is not a $150 game. If you really want to own a physical version of this for PlayStation Vita, you're probably going to be spending that much to get a copy, but I wouldn't tell you to spend $150 on it, and there are several good reasons why. The first is that it's available on any digital platform you can think of. Steam, PlayStation Store, Nintendo Switch, whatever. And generally speaking, it's $4.99, not $150. Now that is digital only, but for a game like this, I'm not sure that matters. And I'm not saying it's a bad game. In fact, if you love Space Invaders games, this is a very fun take on the genre. I like some of the extra things they throw in here, like that some of the enemies that you shoot, their bodies fall toward you instead of just exploding. And then you can shoot those bodies to gain extra points. And the enemies don't just fire at you in a straight line. They have different kinds of attacks. They have homing missiles, spread shots, and all sorts of devious ways to attack you. So it may look and feel like Space Invaders, but it does have some charm and characteristics of its own. Plus, I'm going to assume this applies to all versions and not just the Vita version that I'm playing here. There are challenge modes in Super Destronaut DX that require you to complete a goal in a certain amount of time, like clear a certain number of waves, or defeat a certain number of enemies, or kill as many enemies as you can with a limited number of shots. There are different ways to go about this. If you do it on Steam or PlayStation, there are going to be trophies for doing these things, for clearing these challenges. In fact, I kind of felt like it was trophy spam at first because I was getting so many of them. And be warned, if you're playing the PlayStation Vita or possibly PS4 or PS5 version, you're also going to get connected every single time you get a new high score because it wants to update an online leaderboard, which I assume is run by Rodalaika Games, the developer. So if you don't want that, you might want to disconnect your network connection or turn it off in the settings somehow, because that to me was even more spammy than the achievement trophies. I actually went through this video and I edited out every single time it tried to connect me to the online leaderboard. It got really old. Hardcore mode was the worst because it's a one-hit kill. If you get hit by anything, you die instantly. You don't get a forgiveness grace. You don't have shields or extra lives or anything. So if you get a high score in hardcore mode, it's going to kick you right to the online leaderboard and try to connect you to PlayStation Network. And if you don't realize that hardcore mode means one-hit death, you're going to get connected right away. So I played for a few seconds and bang, I was in the online leaderboard. And I'm like, no, I don't want this. Cancel out of it. And then I got a higher score a minute later, and immediately it kicked me to PlayStation Network again. No. Maybe I just need to use a Vita plug-in to permanently disable connections to the PlayStation Network, but I didn't realize Super Destronaut DX was going to be so adamant about me wanting to update my online leaderboard score. But like I said earlier in the video, this is a game for Space Invaders fans. If you like Space Invaders Forever, Space Invaders Extreme, or the original Space Invaders, you're going to have a fun time playing Super Destronaut DX. And Rodalaika, I'm generally a fan of the things they do, including this game. They've done some really nice re-releases like Glay Lancer and what was the other Sega Genesis one they did? It wasn't Glay Lancer. Let me think for a second. Oh, it wasn't even Genesis. It was Avenging Spirit. That was on Game Boy and NES. So they've got their own games too, but I think they're kind of known for either re-releases or retro-style games that didn't come out in the retro era. That seems to be their main publishing goal, is to capture that retro gaming niche one way or the other. And I feel that Super Destronaut DX scratches that itch, but it's not an itch that's worth paying $150 for. Seriously, this is one of those times where retro collecting, as fun as it is, can be downright stupid. It's a $5 game. I don't just mean because it's $5 on Steam and the Nintendo Store and PlayStation. I mean, it is literally a $5 game. This is a bargain game. This is a game that's meant for a quick, casual session of shooting down invaders from outer space. This is not a deep game with a lot of lore and RPG elements and many hours of play that could justify a $40, $50, $60, even $70 price point, let alone $150. Now, if there was a re-release, which we all know is not going to happen at this point with any PlayStation Vita games, but if there was a re-release in a physical box and it was a reasonable price, say $50 for the game, a soundtrack, the cartridge, a full color manual inside the tiny blue PlayStation Vita game case, fine. I would pay $50 for a collector's edition like that. $150 on the used market? No. There's no way to justify paying 300% more than this game is actually worth in terms of fun and playability and replay value. Maybe someday, somewhere along the line, I'll trade for a copy. Like, if I have something that I picked up that's worth $150, but I didn't pay $150 for it, and it's a one-to-one trade, I would consider doing it at that point. But if I'm collecting PlayStation Vita physical games and there are only a few left that I need, this is going to be one of those few, because the price is way out of proportion here. And I can only assume that's because it was a very late PlayStation Vita release, probably one that was only distributed by East Asia Soft. Vita print runs are known to be a minimum of 1,000, but this may be a case where it was only 1,000 and the stock sold pretty fast and scalpers got a hold of some of it and started flipping it, and the price went up dramatically as a result of that. So I would say bide your time. If the hype ever dies down on Super Destronaut DX as a physical Vita title, wait for it to be a little more affordable than it is right now. But if you like what you see, you don't have to get it physically. You can get it on Steam for $5 or less. I've seen Steam digital coupon codes that sell this for as low as 57 cents. I don't know how legit that is. That just came up in a Google search when I was doing research for the video. It seems like the base version of Super Destronaut is $1.99 on Steam, and the DX version, which I'm playing here, is $4.99. So by those standards, I would say that's the right price to pay for this game. If you want to do all of these different things, the challenge mode, the hardcore mode, the time attack, or just clearing wave after wave of invaders in the standard mode, then go for it. I mean, $5, okay. Let me put this in some context for everybody that's with me to this point in the video. What is a typical Starbucks drink going to cost you? Like, not a regular coffee, not a tea, not a bottled water. Like, if you get say a mocha frappuccino or something, you think you're getting that for less than $5? Probably not. So This, to me, is a better perk than a mocha frappuccino. This will get your adrenaline going. It's fun. It's fast paced. There's a lot of action here. I can think of a lot worse things you could spend $5 on than Super Destronaut DX. It is good at that price. It's just not good at the $150 price. Just out of curiosity, now that I keep going on about this, I'm gonna see if there's a chart that shows the historical prices over time. Okay, so back in May of 2022, it looks like it started out at a modest amount and then shot up to $119 almost immediately and stayed there since. And that to me screams scalpers. Thanks for watching.